Hi, Shaz Nawaz here. Are you clear on who your ideal customer or client is? Believe it or not, when I ask most people that question, the most common answer is everybody is my potential customer and client. And that is the worst answer you can give anybody, because you're not targeting anybody and everybody. That's just too wide. And I mean, if you're selling Coca-Cola, for example, or some other soft drink of your choice, then they might say to some extent everybody is in their target market, but for you, not everybody is a target customer. And it's very important for you to have crystal clarity on who you are targeting as your ideal customer. And there's quite a few different benefits. So I'm going to try and cover as many as I can today to give you a bit of clarity and a bit of direction. And then you can of course go away and start looking at that in more detail. So if you're clear on your ideal customer profile, the big benefit is you know how to market and target them. So the first thing you want to do is look at the demographics of your particular ideal client. And if you're not sure on who your ideal client should be, then what I would say, if you have an existing business, look at your existing customers or clients or patients and look at the ones that you enjoy working the most with, and look at the ones who are the most profitable. And generally speaking, the old 80-20 rule works. So 20% of your customers on average will generate 80% of your turnover stroke your profit, and 20% of your customers or clients or patients are going to give you 80% of the headache. So look at the 20% who generate the 80% of the revenue, and again it's not going to be exact 80-20 match, by the way. It could be 30-70, could be 35-65, but let's just stick with the 80-20 principle. Look at those customers, clients or patients, and then look at their social makeup. So look at their age, look at their gender, look at where they live, okay, and then start with that. Furthermore, dig a bit deeper and start looking at their social profiling and their psychographics. So how do they think, how do they behave, what do they read? And once you're clear on that, you might just find that those top 20% of your customers, clients or patients, for example, are Doctor Who fans. Then at least you've got something to talk to them about there. If there's a Doctor Who magazine out there, which I'm sure there probably is, then you want to be advertising in the Doctor Who magazine. If you find out that those 20% of your customers, clients or patients are into trains, then you know you want to be advertising and marketing in the train magazines. And if there's train exhibitions, then you want to be going to those exhibitions. Yeah, and if they like train spotting, then you might just want to become a train spotter yourself. But furthermore, you want to dig even deeper than that, and you want to understand their needs, their wants, their desires, what keeps them up at night, and what do they secretly want to achieve that perhaps they don't tell anybody else, but in their mind that's something that they really want to do, but they don't want to express that to somebody else. So you need to kind of get really intimate in their mind, and understand how they think and how they behave. Once you've got all that, you can then get your marketing message which fits in line with those needs, with those wants, with those desires, with those goals, with those aims, with those ambitions. So that's going to help you gain some clarity on your ideal client profile. Going above and beyond that, something which will work even better for you is that you want to look at those top 20% of your customers, clients or patients and see if they are in any one particular sector. So let's just say, for example, you have a law firm and you soon establish that the top 20% of your customers are all property investors. That then tells you you can now start targeting more property investors, and perhaps you should to some extent change your entire business if that works for you, and only take on property investor clients going forward, because that's going to make it really easy for you. The marketing is going to become easier because you would obviously advertise only or market only to property investors. You could have a separate website for property investors. You could advertise in all the different property investor magazines. You can go to the exhibitions. You can start going to events where there's property investors. You can go to networking events where there's only property investors. Your team will then be able to specialize in that particular industry. So everything that you do would be aligned to that particular type of clientele. So it's going to make everything so much easier for you. And lots of people aren't aware on who their particular type of or ideal client is. So I would say you pay quite a bit of attention. The other important thing is, once you identify your niche or your ideal customer or client profile, if they are in a particular industry, you then want to learn the language of that particular industry. So every industry has a different language. They have certain words that they use, and if you use those words, it generally shows that you know quite a bit about that industry or that sector. And if you use those words in your marketing, that also demonstrates that you understand the industry really well. Something else which you might want to do, and this will work extremely well, using the earlier example of a law firm. So let's say the law firm establishes that they have their top 20% of their customers are property investors. They now want to target those property investors. They understand their needs, their wants, their frustrations, what keeps them up at night. So they're very clear on that. What that law firm could do now is start investing in property themselves, because once you invest in property yourself, you'll then understand all the challenges. You'll be able to share your own stories. You'll have lots of proof, and what you'll find is more property investors are willing to work with you, because they know that you are leading from the front. Not only are you a trusted advisor to their sector, but you're actually doing what they're doing, so you're walking in their shoes. That is very powerful. And of course, once you've done that too, by the way, you can then start writing articles. You can then start writing blogs. You can even write a book, especially for that particular niche or that sector that you specialize in. So rather than the entire world, okay, or the whole of the UK, for example, being your ideal client, you'll now have a very small universe of a particular niche or a particular type of client who you target. So you can talk to them directly, you can talk their language, you understand their challenges, you understand their frustrations, you understand their ambitions, their aspirations, and it's going to make it really easier for you to connect with them. It's going to make it easier for you to find them, by the way, and it's going to make it very easy or easier for them to find you. So there's lots of benefits to having crystal clarity on your ideal client profile. If you don't have one, then make sure, or please, I'd encourage you to develop one. If you do have one, look at it and make sure it's quite comprehensive, so that all your team members, if you have team members, also understand who your ideal client is, and pay a lot of attention to that, because the return on your investment from a marketing point of view and from a business point of view is huge once you crack who your ideal client profile is. I hope you found that useful. Bye for now.